Hi again. Previously we spoke about our self-image, the little picture we carry of ourselves, the little picture on the back wall. I am going to find this thermostat that I keep talking about. Here it is here. The thermostat that I've been searching for is this one. So if you look on, if you've got a air conditioning at home or a heat pump, you'll find there's a thermostat. And the thermostat will be set at a certain temperature. And as we mentioned previously, if you set it at a certain temperature, let's say we set it at 30, then once it gets above 30, it will allow cooling to happen so that it stays at 30. In other words, it won't go higher or lower than 30. And if it does, it will rectify itself. That's called homeostasis. Homeostasis, incidentally, is very, very interesting, and this is how this works. Homeostasis is anything to do with balance. And in our situation, homeostasis is all about when we're cold, we shiver, and we shiver to get our temperature back up. When we're too hot, we perspire, which brings the temperature down. So imagine homeostasis as being an internal system within you that will rectify or will bring back into balance whatever it is that you have set up here. That's why we don't try stuff new. I was doing a talk once and there was a lady sitting in the front row with her daughter, and her daughter was probably 18. And I was talking about the self-image. I was talking about how we set the thermostat. And she prompted, the mother prompted the daughter. You can see this happening quite often. Ask him, ask him, ask him. So the daughter eventually kind of said, well, my mother wants me to ask you about this. I'm no good. You said that, you can change anything within reason. I'm no good at skiing. And I said to her, well, how do you know that? She said, because I've tried it. I tried skiing, and I'm no good at it. And I said, okay, what age were you when you tried skiing? She said, about 6. Now, it's pretty obvious that if you've tried something when you were younger, even if you're 50 now or 60 or 70, I mean, I couldn't dance to save my life. But I learned to dance, and now I can dance. Now I dance everything to a foxtrot, but hey, I can dance. I even taught myself to ski when I was about 60. Am I a good skier? No. But I had never tried skiing, and I used to see people, and I thought I can do that, and I did. You can pretty much do anything within reason if you challenge, and that's what I want to talk to you today, is about using your rational mind to rationalize why you believe you are the way you are. Because you are unique. There isn't anybody like you. Nobody. You can't compare yourself to anybody else. You can't compare yourself even to your brother. You can't compare yourself to anyone. You are the only one of you on the entire planet. So you need to be the best you can be, and there's only one person you can and should compete against and with, and that is yourself. And you just need to be aware that you should, hate the word should, but you at least could look at the potential that you have yet to explore or challenge. So with the rational mind, we challenge. I was in a car the other day, and I'm always talking about my grandchildren, but I was in the car the other day with my grandchild, and there was a guy behind me that was, to say he was suffering road rage was an understatement. This guy was out of his tree. I have no idea what the story was. I was letting traffic in because it was a traffic jam. It was near a very big football game, and I was letting traffic in because I didn't have a, any urgency at that point in time. I didn't have to be somewhere. And this guy was going nuts to the point that he eventually went around me and in a very, very dangerous manner cut into the traffic. My initial reaction, you may have heard of fight flight. My initial reaction was to be the macho man and to do something. I don't know why. Anyway, for some reason, I was able to catch myself in time, which you can always do. Just wait for a while and you'll catch yourself. And I started to rationalize. I've got an 8-year-old little girl in the car with me. It's a big football game. He's probably, now this is where the rationalization came in. He's probably running late. He's probably got a commitment. He's probably wondering why I'm not moving. So in other words, I rationalized on his behalf. You might say that, but I was actually rationalizing on my behalf. Because by doing that, I was able to argue, if you like, why I wasn't going to respond. And it's not even respond, it's react. I wasn't going to react. And I felt great about it. I really felt well about it. I know, and I'll share with you something about this whole reaction thing. If you don't react and don't allow it to get in within 10 seconds, it's gone. You need to focus on something for at least 10 seconds. You need to dwell on it for at least 10 seconds for it to get into your psyche. So I was able to kind of get rid of that. My granddaughter, who's 8, all she knew was that someone was honking a horn. And she said to me, "Pappy, is he honking at us?" I said, "No." And you are allowed to fib to grandchildren sometimes. So I let it go. And the only reason I raise it with you is that by using the rational mind, we can challenge and we can question. So let's say that you have never been able to swim. Let's say you're 50, 40, 30 and you can't swim. You've got a reason for thinking that. It may well be that nobody in your family swims. In my family, for example, the Hainey family, I was told very clearly and very early in my life that none of us were musical. None of the Haineys were musical. Now, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. We didn't have one musical instrument in the house. And you might say, well, why was that? Well, why would you have a musical instrument in the house if you weren't musical? So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I remember when my daughter came home from school, she must have been, I don't know, 9 or 10, and she came home with a recorder, you know, the thing you play. And I didn't have the heart to tell her that, hey, I got news for you, kid. We're not musical. As it turned out, she is musical. She learned to play that. I've learned to play a musical instrument very badly, but I've learned to play a musical instrument, and I know that I could play it really well if I gave it the time. I've worked out that anything you give time to, anything you give focus to, you're good at. So again, how do we change our self-image? Well, we change our self-image, the little image we hold of ourselves that dictates who we are. We change it the way it was started or how it was created. And how it was created was that we allowed people to tell us who we are. We are clumsy, we are beautiful, we are pretty, we are whatever. We are told that pretty girls do better than non-pretty, or thin people do better than chubby people, whatever belief system we have. I certainly was told a lot of things. I went to a pretty severe Catholic brothers' school, and I was told, no uncertain circumstances, who I was. That they don't talk about. Well, this crew didn't talk about so much potential. It was about who you are. You know, Hainey, you're no good. You're this, you're that. I was good at some things and not others. I was a very good swimmer. So all I used to get sometimes was, Hainey, you might be a bit of a swimmer, but you know, you're hopeless at this or hopeless at that. Whatever it was. And why are we going to argue with it? Because that's how we tend to learn about ourselves. So how do you change it? You change it by, first of all, rationalizing and questioning and challenging everything you think about yourself. It's not difficult. It's just asking yourself, why do I feel that way about myself? Because the way you feel about yourself is the way you're going to act. Once you've set your thermostat, once you've got the self-image on the back wall, once you've got the little picture of yourself, you can't act in any other way. If you try to break out of the little picture, it'll drag you back. Sooner or later, it'll drag you back. And then you'll say, I knew it. If you try to go past your potential, if you haven't changed your self-image, it'll pull you back. If you underperform, then you're going to realize that, because that's not your self-image. But if you underperform long enough, then you'll tend to have a new self-image. So you get your new self-image, you get your change of self-image by questioning, challenging, by spending a little bit of quiet time, imagining, this is how you got it in the first place, imagining yourself being successful at other things. Believe me, it works. So thank you, and I'll see you next time around.